Welcome gamers! Today we're going to check out Revolution X. This was a classic arcade light gun game developed by Midway and first released to arcades back in May of 1994. So the game's story interestingly centers around the hit rock icons Aerosmith, and it features a number of the band's classic hit titles, and it's even narrated by Steven Tyler and other members of the band itself. So the story behind the game follows the attempted world takeover by a repressive authoritarian regime known as the New Order Nation. This corrupt, militarized, neo-industrial world government is led by the head mistress Helga, of whom players will later realize isn't quite as human as she initially appears to be. Helga's regime seeks to put a stop to youth culture, in fact banning all forms of entertainment including music, video games, movie, TV, magazines, and more, and is seeking to imprison all citizens between the ages of 13 and 30 in a desperate attempt to retain an iron grip on humanity. So the game's story starts off with players entering LA's Club X to see the rock band Aerosmith live. As the band begins performing, the New Order troops enter the stage and take Aerosmith's band members captive. Following the band being ushered off the stage by Helga's evil regime, players take on the role of the last surviving youth who must fight to bring down the New Order. Gameplay involves players throwing CDs and laser discs to take down enemies. Quite fitting for the time, given that, CDs and laser discs were really popular back during that time. The internet really wasn't a thing yet. And, things like CD Walkmans were really popular. Laser discs didn't really take off that well during that era. There were Laserdisc games in the arcades, but they didn't take off like DVDs did. So anyways, players each threw CDs and Laserdiscs to take down enemies, and there were often power-ups hidden in various objects and places throughout the game. And so after entering the Club X, players are later greeted by Steven Tyler, who informs them that the New World Order has taken over and it's up to them to put a stop to it. Players are then given access to choose among 3 stages in order to progress throughout the game. You can actually choose whichever stage you want to begin. So there's somewhat branching path narratives in this game, but the stages remain the same regardless of which one you choose. So the stages include an Amazon, Pacific Rim, and Middle Eastern themed stages. Now, after defeating the first 3 stages of the game, players are taken to the Wembley Stadium to battle it out with the evil mistress Helga herself. And so, interestingly, the game's soundtrack was also released following the game itself, and it includes some really cool tracks like Walk This Way, one of my favorites, Eat the Rich, Sweet Emotion, and others. And so here's my thoughts on the game. Developers' clever combination of a light gun game with a dystopian theme coupled with an iconic and popular rock band like Aerosmith, I would have really thought was sure to be a commercial success, and for the most part it really was. However, certain parts of the game really seemed overly repetitive, and to be quite honest, the graphics were nothing to get excited about. They really were not that great. And, but to help make things a little more interesting, developers did include a few really cool Easter eggs that they placed hidden throughout the game. If you find all 5 of the hidden Aerosmith band members in the game, it unlocks an enhanced alternative ending after you defeat Helga, which I thought was kind of cool. Now, one thing to note about this game is that playing it for the first time, it was often easy for players to get stuck at various scenes throughout the game, such as the caterpillar scene, where players must shoot the bridge's end mounts to collapse it, forcing the caterpillar to fall to its demise, as well as one scene where players must shoot the chains holding up a sign, thereby forcing the sign to drop on the enemy's head, allowing them to progress further into the game. Now, there's also another scene where, actually there's a couple of scenes with these green skeleton head enemies that hurl eyes at you. Now, the problem with these characters is that the only way to actually defeat them is with laser discs or CDs. Your guns are actually totally ineffective against these enemies. And the problem is with the first one, you get enough laser discs or CDs to actually defeat the first one. Now the second one, it's very typical to run out of the laser discs and CDs to actually beat it. So you actually have to die and then respawn and continue in order to take it out. So that was kind of annoying. Now, something else to note about this game is the fact that it was really geared towards an adult audience. This was definitely not a game for kids. The game featured dancing women in thongs in the club in the opening scene, as you can see. And some parts, like the end battle with Helga, actually got really bloody. Otherwise, it was really just your typical light gun game. As you notice, most of the typical characters, most of the enemies, there's really no blood. But there is a few racy themes in the game that pretty much make it not for kids. Now, some of those adult themes were later toned down or stripped out from console ports when they were released for the SNES, Genesis, etc. Now, while the arcade version was considered a highly acclaimed commercial success, critics really ripped and bashed the console ports of this game for their dumbed-down representation of graphics and music, as well as a partially broken gameplay mechanics, with players often citing difficulty properly aiming at targets. Now, I have not played all the console ports. I know that there was an MS-DOS port that has some really cheesy graphics. I think I saw a video of it a while back somewhere on YouTube. I did play, I believe it was the Genesis version. The graphics were horrible, and it seemed like aiming your sights was really difficult in some parts of the game. The music seemed really cheesy compared to the arcade version. I just do not recommend it. If you really want to experience this game for what it really was, I recommend playing it MAME, or just, actually playing the actual arcade version, the arcades itself. I really did not like the console ports of this game. They really were nothing to write home about. They were not exciting. This was a really cool game as far as included Aerosmith, but like I said, it was very repetitious. I did not like that. I do like the idea that they hid so many, there was hidden weapons everywhere. I do like some of the boss battles. I do like the battles with the helicopters throughout the game and stuff like that. But it could have been, they could have sped up a few parts. Something else to note about this game, there's a scene in it where you actually have to destroy this bus. And it seemed very reminiscent of T2 Arcade, the Terminator 2 arcade game that was also developed by Midway. You have to take out the bus before it reaches its destination. Otherwise, just like the scene with John Connor, we have to protect John Connor in the truck scene of T2 Arcade, if you don't defeat this bus by the time limit, it takes you all the way back to the beginning of the stage, and you have to do it again. And so that's a really challenging part of the game. Otherwise, this game is not super difficult. In fact, if anything, T2 Arcade was probably a lot more difficult than this game. Some of the scenes there, you can really get thrown back to the beginning of the stage if you don't level up in time. So otherwise, it's a decent game, but this was also one of those games, Revolution X was one of those games that you play it once and you're pretty well done with it. This was not like T2 Arcade. I could keep going back and playing that game over and over again. The graphics were great, and it was a lot of fun to play, but given the repetitious activity of this game, I really didn't care for that. And something else to note about this game is that it launched around the same time as, where did I play this at? I think I first played this game in a bowling alley, believe it or not, back in 1995. and they only had a couple cabinets. It was Revolution X, and then they had the Area 51, and it was an Area 51 cabinet with Maximum Force Duo. It was the Area 51 Maximum Force Duo. Sorry about the dog barking. And those were the only games they had. It was really interesting. You know, I think by 1997, this game was in arcades all over the US. But let's face it, Aerosmith was super popular at the time. And it was a really clever idea for the developers to take, you know, an iconic rock band and couple it with this dystopian theme in a light gun game. So they did a really great job with that. But like I said, the game was just not exciting to me. I played it once and I was pretty well done with it. It was also one of the very last games. We have covered so many classic arcade light gun games, and for some reason, we just did not get around to doing a review of this game. And I thought, you know, we really should. This was, by all means, it was a very popular game, but the repetition just killed it. Now, critics just completely bashed the home console ports of this game. They hated it. Not just the critics themselves, not just the media, but the players themselves. Like I said, I played the Genesis version and graphics were just terrible. The music did not sound good. There was some of the graphical elements were missing from that were in the arcade version were missing from the console ports. I did not like that, and it was just too hard to aim. But anyways, that is Revolution X. This game is now a few decades old. It still has its place as a classic arcade light gun title. It was definitely worth playing. It was fun to play, but like I said, the repetition just pretty much killed it. So anyways, that is Revolution X. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date with our latest videos. I'm going to go ahead and continue to play throughout the entirety of the game. If you want to see the end, you can check that out too. Definitely be sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date with our latest videos. And until next time, take care.
Give up! Let's go! Now you got protection! Whoa! The New Order bus. it up! Don't give up! Let's go! Nice shot! Now you got protection. All right. Rock and roll! Way to go! Great shot! Awesome! Good shot! All right! Hey, baby! Kablam! Great shot! Good shot! Look out! Don't give up! Let's go! Don't give up! Let's go!
Destroy New Order property. Now you must pay with your life.
Too well! Don't give up! Let's go!
Go to your doom. You have no choice. You have no future. You cannot destroy me. Impudent youth.
Don't give up! Yes, let's go!
Submit to the new order. Impudent youth. You have no future.
Don't give up! Let's go!
You have no choice. the new order. Impudent youth! You have no choice. You have no future. Go to your doom. You have no choice. Submit.
Don't give up! Let's go!
Go to your doom. You cannot destroy me. You have no future. Impudent youth! You have no future. You have no choice. Submit to the new order. Go to your doom.
Don't give up! Let's go!
You cannot destroy me.
Yeah!
Tear down the wall!
I will destroy you!
I feel good!
You will obey! You will... How dare you! You will obey! You will obey! You will obey! You... I will destroy you! I will destroy you! I will destroy... You've been a bad boy.
Don't give up! Let's go!
Oh, irresponsible! Undisciplined! I will... How dare you!
Now you got protection!
Scatterbrain! Oh, irresponsible! You will... How dare you! Undisciplined! I'm the headmistress. Irresponsible! Scatterbrain!
Don't give up! Let's go!
Oh, how dare you! Undisciplined! You will obey. Irresponsible! Oh, how dare you! Scatterbrain!
Now you got protection!
Undisciplined! You ain't seen nothing yet!
Wow! Now you got protection!
Or nothing.
I feel good!
Coward.
Don't give up! Let's go!
Take that. Boom. Boom. Take that.
Now you got protection! I feel good! Don't give up! Let's go!
That's for more, huh? I'll eat your guts with soy sauce.
I feel good!
I will devour.
Now you got protection! Now you got protection! Don't give up! Let's go!
That's for more, huh?
Fired up! Fired up!
Don't make me get up.
I feel good!
I am Condor. Take that.
I feel good! I feel good! Don't give up! Let's go! Now you got protection! Fired up! I feel good!
I'm your worst nightmare.
give up! Let's go!
Back for more, huh? It's only a flesh wound.
Fired up! That feel good! Now you got protection!
Rip your head off!